Here's a ton of gift ideas that you can give the gardener or the wannabe gardener in your life for less than $30. So I know that the holiday season is approaching and we're all trying to figure out what to give those people in our lives who are gardeners or who we want to become gardeners or who want to be gardeners. So here are some gift ideas you can put in the stocking, you can wrap up, you can give at a gift exchange that costs less than $30 and will be so useful, and the gardener in your life is just going to love it. At least if you gave this to me for less than $30, I would feel like you gave me $100. Okay, so let's dive in. First is just a bunch of different like tools and supplies, things that I love having in my garden and I really can't get enough of. So the first is going to be some of my special tools. These are dibbers. Dibbers are like so useful in the garden. You use these to plant seeds of any depth and they're just a huge time saver. You don't have to like dig and you also don't over dig. A lot of times when you're using like a shovel or something, you can end up displacing more soil than you need to. Dibbers is probably something that like a gardener may feel guilty about spending on themselves, but they, at least if it was me, would be so happy to get one from you. This is one dibber. It has like this graduated bottom and along it, it's so dirty because I use it all the time, but it has little 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch marks. So you always know how deep you're planting. I think this would look great as like a little decoration on top of a package or in a stocking or just something in like a tool wrap up, which I'll give you an idea for in a second. So that's the first one, is a dibber. There's all different kinds of sizes of dibbers. That one's going to be used for planting things like bean seeds, cucumber seeds, things like that. But you can get larger dibbers for planting garlic and tulip bulbs, like if you're giving to like a flower gardener in your life. Okay, and then smaller ones that I use for things like radishes and carrot seeds. Next up is this little rake. When you're a kitchen gardener, you know, a lot of the tools that are like typically available are just too large for the scale at which we're gardening. So when you're working in a raised bed or a smaller space, you don't need like a huge lawn rake. You just need something small like this. So this is one of my favorites. This is Sneebor, and I hope it's under 30. If it's not under 30, you can find a variety that is. This is just a handy little tool. Again, something that a gardener might not buy for themselves, but they would really like to get as a gift. That's like my rule of thumb for gift giving, is I try not to give something that someone would go out and buy on their own, something that they'd love to have, but they probably wouldn't spend on themselves. A little garden rake is one of those things. The next tool that I love is a hori hori. This is like a 501 garden tool. It does all the things. So first it has this nice little graduation on here to show you how deep you're digging. It has a very nice sharp tip, so you can dig into clay soil, compacted soil, tough to get into soil. It works much better than just like a typical spade. And then it has this serrated edge, which you can use to cut garden twine, to cut off a branch or an unhealthy leaf, and then you can dig with it. It literally is all the things, and you can get them with a little handle. They come with little, what do you call this, tool belt handle things. You can get them that way. It's just a nice all-in-one garden tool. If we are like doing a big planting with my team or we're at an installation, everybody on the team has one of these, and if the gardener in your life does not have a hori hori, it's on you. You know what I'm saying? Like that is on you to take care of that for them this holiday season. So that's another one of my favorite. Another one of my favorite tools is needle nose pruners. These are an essential piece of kitchen gardening, I think. Again, as a kitchen gardener, you don't need these huge tools, these huge, big, you know, what are they called? Like big pruners that you'd use for like a tree or a rose bush. You need like little tiny things like this, because as a kitchen gardener, we're working in like very meticulous spots, right? So if I come into the garden and I have big pruners, it's really hard to get into these smaller spaces, you know, and cut little bitty stems like this. Enter the needle nose pruners. There are all kinds of varieties. This one is Barnell, B-A-R-N-E-L variety. I have a really fancy one, really fancy. It is not under $30. I got this from Shop Terrain. So if you want to like go all out for your garden friend, you could get her this, but you don't have to. Anyway, like they come fancy. I will say like I spent a lot on this because I thought it was going to be worth it, but in general, I actually like this Barnell pear better. So I think this is valuable maybe because you can sharpen it and you can use it for a long time, but you can see it rusted, and actually sometimes it gets kind of caught when I'm using it. So all kinds of pruners, just search needle nose pruners, then you'll get the one that you want. Again, probably the gardener in your life, she may not even know knows she needs this kind of pruner. She has big pruners and she doesn't know why her life is just not fulfilled yet. It's because she needs one of these. Okay, so needle nose pruners is another option. And then just simple scissors. Like, I know this may sound obvious, but if your person is growing salad or greens or spinach or kale, or she makes a green smoothie or a juice or something, like, scissors are just an essential. And it's not good to just have kitchen scissors, because my kids always take those from me. So garden scissors is the way to go. This one is from Bare Bones. I really like the strength of these scissors. And then this one I just bought, like a Cuisinart. It actually is kitchen scissors, but they're dedicated. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're dedicated to the garden, not to the kitchen. So some kind of garden scissors I think is really helpful. Let me show you a couple other little tools. This is another dibber variety. I think it's from Bergen & Ball, actually. It says B&B on here. I think this one's really pretty. It's got a wooden handle, and this one's got that nice bulb out. You can see the difference. This one gets wider and this one bulbs out and then gets thinner. So it's a nice one for planting, say, like garlic bulbs or something like that, like a small size bulb. You could give them just a ton of dibbers. You know, I'm sure they would love you for it. All right, one more tool. These are small pruners. So I love my needle nose, but these are good for growing larger vining plants. So things where the vine's gonna be a little bit thicker. So if they're growing something like rhubarb or asparagus, if they have a little bit of like next level garden, or if they're doing cut flowers, things like that, then this level of pruner is great as well. So that's all of the tools. So a really fun way you could do this as a gift. This would not be under 30. So under 30, you could get each of these, but if you wanted to kind of, you know, amp it up a little, you could take all these tools, or maybe like 3 or 4 of them, you know, and like put them all together. So tie them all up, maybe wrap them up in some burlap, put them in a little harvest basket or in a little pot, a little terracotta pot. That would be a super cute idea. Actually, let me show you how that would look. I have this cute little set of terracotta pots, which that's on the list. I'll tell you more about these in a second. But you could absolutely take a little pot, you know, stick them all in there, tie it up with a little garden twine or something. That would be a very cute gift. Okay, moving on, a couple of other, these aren't necessarily tools for the garden, but they are supplies. So you could do a seed spacer. Everybody loves this. I don't know if you can find this anymore online, but this allows you to space your seeds. Again, something a gardener probably wouldn't buy, but would love to have, or you can make her one. That would be amazing too. This is one, and then this is a little seed spacer that has 4 little things that you can use to make your indentations into the soil and plant your seeds. So those are 2 supplies. And then last for the supply, or a couple more, is plant tags. Again, something a gardener probably wouldn't buy herself, but you could give her and she would love. So here's some copper ones that are vertical. They're like a hairpin. These ones you slide on. And if you use like a stick-on label, then you can change them and reuse them from season to season. I do that every season, put them back in, change the labels, and start over. My favorite gloves are bamboo gardener gloves, but any kind of glove I think that has like a little bit of the rubber or nitrile on the inside, they're gonna last a really long time, and a gardener can always use more gloves, me especially. Okay, so those are some tools and supplies. Now let's talk about a few other extra things you could buy for under $30 for the gardener in your life. So next up would just be a little set of terracotta pots. These might end up being over 30 altogether, but you could buy just a little set, and I think that'd be so cute. Like this one, the medium size. We'll take out the tools, and the small. So fun. You could gift them just like this, wrap them up in a little bow, and the gardener in your life would be so happy. If you want to put the draining trays on there, that'd be great as well. I love this color. It's, you know, different than what you can typically get finding the like orange variety. A set of pots I think would be super fun. Okay, next thing you could give is a harvest basket. Now, people are always asking me about my harvest basket. This one does cost more than $30, but a huge tip for you to go find one is go to a local resale shop or consignment shop. They're typically gonna have some really cool vintage like baskets like this one, where you can, you know, give them something that's really almost like one of a kind. And typically you can find it, especially if you're at a consignment shop, for less than 30. This is a, I think it's called a tobacco basket. This one's a fun one too. All kinds of different shapes and sizes. You can find some online too, but I think it'd be really fun to find them at a resale shop, consignment shop, or even at like a Goodwill or something like that. All right, books. Shameless plug. You could give them this book. Who's it written by? Me. Yeah, Kitchen Garden Revival. You can definitely get for under 30 bucks. Any kind of gardening book I know the gardener in your life would love. This book is all about building and setting up and planning and planting a beautiful raised bed kitchen garden. So if you know someone who wants tips on how to make their spot more beautiful, more stylish, if they love raised beds, shameless plug, but also other books that might help the gardener go a little bit further. I recently got this book by Mark Diacono. I love it. It's called Herb, A Cook's Companion. And I think that's a great idea for a gardener, is giving them something that gives them ideas on how to use the things that they're growing. And this cookbook, it's like a cookbook plus a gardening book. That's a great idea. So giving them things that will help them think, oh, like I can actually eat this stuff and not just, you know, grow it. All right, last thing I wanted to show you is just a couple of easy little projects too that you could do. So one would be a little container like this. This is a little steel tub. You can get these from like Lowe's or Home Depot, probably even Amazon. I added some drainage. Oh, I didn't add drainage holes, but you should add drainage holes to the bottom. Put in some soil, and I've got a little green onion here, but you could plant it up with garlic. And it'd be such a fun, or even little onion bulbs, it'd be such a fun little project, a way to just give your gardener friend, you know, a little piece of the garden. This would be a great gift to give someone who's a beginner gardener or who's just getting started, or who you want to be your gardening friend. So you could plant this up with little tiny onion bulbs, little green onions or garlic shoots, and give this to them and be like, hey, here's all your green onion and scallion supply for the next 6 months. So that's a fun project. Last one would be to gift them a little salad bowl. So this is just a little terracotta pot. It's probably 10 inches wide. If I were you, I'd get one that's a little bit wider, maybe like 12, 15 inches wide. Give it to them ready to go, okay? Don't give it to them and tell them to figure it out. Give it to them with like the weed barrier cloth in the bottom, great soil on top, and then go ahead and plant it with a lettuce mix. This is Cosmic Crimson Mix. You could do Rocky Top from Baker Creek, any kind of salad mix. Plant it with seed, and what would be super amazing is if you go ahead and get it sprouted. So sprinkle it with seed, let it start to sprout, like keep it well watered, and then give it to them already growing. I mean, how fun would that be? Then you could give them the seed package alongside the gift, and you can say, all right, after this is done, when these plants start to bolt, you can just replant it and you can have salad for the next 6 months. Pretty fun, right? And this is definitely under $30. Okay, so tell me in the comments which idea you like the most, which one you're gonna try out, which one you're gonna give the gardener in your life. I hope this list inspires you and shows you there's so many ways to share the garden this holiday season. You don't have to spend a ton of money to have a ton of impact on the people that you love, the people that you wanna share the garden with in your own life. As always, we have tons of great things for you to find and shop for in the Gardenary shop at gardenary.com. And if you have any questions about any of these gifts, let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.